Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to walk you through a really practical skill for anyone working with statistics. That's how to make an F table, or in other words, generate the F distribution values automatically right inside Excel or Google Sheets. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a super handy table that saves you from fumbling through big charts and textbooks, perfect for research exams or just brushing up your stats skills. Let's jump straight in and set this up together. To get started, open up a fresh worksheet in Excel or Google Sheets. Right at the top corner in cell A1, type the label alpha. This is our significance level, basically the threshold you want to test against in your hypothesis test. A very typical value for alpha and one that's commonly used in statistics is 0.05. So move over to cell B1 and type in 0.05. If you're doing a different type of test and need a stricter or more lenient threshold, you can always adjust this number, but 0.05 is a rock-solid starting point. Next, we'll set up the structure for our table with the degrees of freedom. These are the numbers that define the shape of the F distribution and are absolutely essential for getting your critical values right. We're going to set these up as a series for both the rows and columns. Start by placing the number 1 into cell C2, then 2 in D2. Highlight those two cells and then click and drag across to the right, maybe as far as 10 or 20, depending on how big you want your table. This row will represent the numerator degrees of freedom, which you might also call DF1. Let's set up the other half now, the denominator degrees of freedom, or DF2, as the column on the side. In cell B3, type 1, then 2 in B4. Again, select both and drag the selection down as far as you'd like. Now you'll have numbers running down as well as across. The columns up top are your numerator degrees of freedom, and the numbers down the first column are your denominators. This setup mirrors those classic F tables you see in textbooks, but here you're building it with live data. Now comes the really interesting part, filling in the actual F critical values. Hover over to where your series cross cell C3. This is the spot where results start populating. Type in this formula equals F inv $RT$B$1 C$2 $B3. What's happening here is you're telling Excel or Sheets to calculate the critical value for the F distribution, using the alpha you already set in B1, the numerator degree of freedom from across the top, and the denominator from the side. The dollar signs are important. They lock in the specific row or column as you drag the formula around, so your calculations always reference the right spots. Now take a moment, click on C3, and carefully drag the formula down along your column to the same length as your degrees of freedom numbers. Don't worry if it takes a second for all the cells to calculate, especially in Google Sheets. Sometimes there's a tiny delay. After you drag all the way down, drag the formula to the right as well, so that every intersection between numerator and denominator degrees of freedom is filled with a value. At this point, congratulations, you've just created your own custom F table. For a finishing touch, let's make your table easy to read. Select the entire block of data, all your numbers plus the labels. Head over to the Format menu, then click on Alternate Colors. Pick a style you like. This just makes it much easier to keep your eyes focused if you're scanning across rows and columns. And that's all there is to it. You now have an auto-calculating F table right at your fingertips, ready to adjust just by changing your alpha or expanding the degrees of freedom. If you found this tutorial helpful, give it a like and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more easy practical guides like this. If you have any questions on F tables, distributions, or even just working with formulas, drop a comment below. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.